Welcome to the Wood Violins Custom Shop. We have countless possible instrument configurations for you to choose from. Different models, number of strings, fret options, colors, and more. This is why we like to say, if you can dream it, we can do it. Let's go inside and see what's going on in the shop today.
Hey everybody, Mark Wood here. I'm so thrilled to give you a tour of our shop because we have a unique situation out here in New York where the instruments are hand-built. We utilize machinery and 21st century technology, but what I love about it is the traditional sensibility that is here, that we are very much emulating what we've done in the 1700s and the 1600s with Stradivarius and Cremona in Italy, where everything is built by hand and overseen by a human being. Yes, again, we use machines, but again, I really love the fact that we are hand-built. So you're gonna follow me into the area. And this is our little office area. And we take our orders here. We access, obviously, the internet and technology for our orders. And if you want to follow me into here, I want to introduce you to one of our great creative directors. This is Joe Demjan.
Hey, Joe. Hey folks, how are you? I'm Joe Demjan. I'm the senior designer and the creative director of Wood Violins. Let me give you a brief rundown of what's going on here. Every one of our instruments, whether you have a Viper, Katana, or a Stingray, starts off as a blank of poplar like this. The next stage is, if you pan over here, Jillian is mapping out our trunks. And this would be the second stage, would be looking at one of our trunk blanks that has a profile and a side view of it. And they will be turned into a piece like this.
Right, and these templates we spent years, Joe and I, figuring out exactly the right length. I think this is a 4-string, right?
That's a 5.
This is a 5-string, so the 4 strings and the 5 strings are different. We don't just squeeze 5 strings on a 4-string neck. This neck is specifically a 5-string, so it's measured exactly to fit comfortably with exactly 5 strings.
The next step is to introduce the Viper neck to the bandsaw.
Ready? Here we go. There you have it. Viper trunk.
The next stage of the game here is we have all of our Viper trunks have been roughed out on the bandsaw. To achieve the final shape, we go over to this piece of machinery here called the shaper. This template here gives the Vipers their final shape. After being clamped to this board here, I run them past the shaper head here, and it gives them the profile they need for the correct fingerboard. Over here, what we have is our various router table fixtures. This is how we achieve our final cuts and our final shape on all of our wings. What we have over here is, if you could see, if you recognize this shape, this is the fixture I use to finalize the shape on the Nashville wings. This here is a base wing for a Viper attached to the fixture. Its next step would be to run past this router head right here, and we get the final shape.
We've got Jillian is doing the soldering of the input jacks. And I also want to show what's really cool, and it really shows you the puzzle that these instruments are, because the instruments are not just a body and a neck. As you can see with this Viper, we've got the 2 specifically different types of wings, and again, Joe and I worked for many, many years getting the exact right angles on that so that it sits, because these angles are set up so that the mechanics of the instrument sits properly on the person's body, and then you can see with the fingerboard, you have all these elements put together to have a firmly playable instrument that is played around the world. And then, of course, then you can see all these great finishes of these instruments that we are just doing the final setups on them. This is our 7-string. We have the Barbera pickup on there. We have this special type of tailpiece that is angled so that the pressure of the strings on the bridge is appropriate and workable so that it doesn't fall. And then we've got all these great finishes. And of course I want to point out the fingerboard. We also love to do these designs on our fingerboards because the cool factor is very important with wood violins.
And here we have Frank. Hey Frank,
How are you guys and gals? How's everything going?
what are you doing over there?
Well, basically, I'm just getting ready to buff out this instrument over here before I put the polish on it and all that. And yeah, just going past this thing out there.
Beautiful.
Right over here. And basically, after we do that, we put it onto the wheel over here.
So now we have Dave Padula is on our finishing team, and he's been with us for almost 25 years. And the finishes of our instruments are really important because the beauty of the instrument is critical in the final product. So Dave usually paints in this room.
Hey Dave,
Hey, how you doing?
what you working on today?
Well, I'm putting the final color on here. As you can see, these are all ready to be painted. Everyone's a different color. We can do all the colors you've seen and some you've never seen. So, you know, I gotta get back to work.
Yes.
Have over here where the instruments dry after they're painted, and these are 4 different Cobras. We have a fretted Cobra cello right here. We have a sparkly silver cello 4-string here, and a 4-string here. And Dave, our painter, did a beautiful job. As you can see, the metal flake, if you turn it in the light, you can actually see different colors of the sparkle and the metal flake. This is one of a very popular finish of ours, and Dave has perfected it beautifully.
Also, to make your instrument yours in any shape or color you want, we also have chrome tuning gears, gold tuning gears, or black tuning gears.
So about 40 years ago, I decided for the first time in history to put frets, steel frets on a violin, which I really felt was important to explore an electric violin, and I'll describe it a little bit later. But as you can see, we start with a blank fingerboard, slotting them, and then we put the dot configuration on that, and then you can see the final result with these dots placement. I can't tell you how important it is. These dots took me years to figure out the exact placement of them. Additionally, at the frets, we file down the top end where the E and A string are, because the strings are so thin that you do not want to feel big road bumps on this. So we really spent a lot of time prepping the fingerboards for the perfect feel. So what we're going to do is we're going to scoop over to where Joe is and share the laminates.
Hey folks, if you want to step over here, this is where we keep our various veneers. We have some beautiful quilt right here. We also have some older burl. We have some nice dark burl here. Get in there, get a good look at that. Absolutely gorgeous piece of wood right there. And we have a few more various veneers here. We have some more quilt. We have some tiger maple. We have some various samples from our dealers who give us pieces from now and then to take a look at. And finally, we have some of our bird's eye and some more really beautiful quilt down there. If you can think of it, we can do it for you, whether I want to or not.
This is just for the Viper, which is the self-supporting violin that I invented and patented, this floating violin. The chest support system, we've also spent a lot of time in getting the right elements and parts for these, where we have the ability so that the chest support can move freely both this way and this way on the instrument, so that when it sits on the person's body, it's completely interchangeable and adjustable.
This is our line of acoustic electric instruments. We're calling this particular model here the Concert Standard. The great thing about these is our output jack and our volume control are very neatly tucked onto the side, keeping the traditional look of the violin intact. All of our wiring is internal. So there's nothing noticeable and nothing looks different from an ordinary acoustic violin except for our output jack and our volume control.
We are so excited about working with Gear4music and expanding into Europe. Gear4music is one of the fastest growing retailers in Europe, shipping to over 20 different countries with the highest standards of customer service. If you have any questions about our products, Gear4music is here to help.